to Salam Media.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back. It is exactly 8:50 a.m. This is News and Views right here on Salam Media. My next guest is Dr. Abdulkader Al-Guneid, and he is in our country. He attended the peace initiatives in Yemen. It was held at the University of Pretoria. It was a workshop that was held yesterday, and people like our ambassador Mohammed Dango was in attendance, as was Professor Laurie Nathan, also Anas Al-Hamati and Mohammed Baba. Now, I do also want to advise all of our listeners that inshallah, tomorrow night between 8 and 9 o'clock, Inayat Wadi will be talking to Dr. Abdulkader Al-Guneidi for the entire hour. We are going to have a brief discussion with him for about, I'd say, 8 minutes or so, just to understand what the workshop was all about yesterday, peace initiatives in Yemen. Talk a little bit about his book and obviously his work in Canada. He is a medical specialist. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the program, Dr. Abdulkader Al-Guneid.
وعليكم أفضل السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much for inviting me to talk.
My pleasure entirely. And my colleague will be hosting you tomorrow night for an entire hour. So I'll leave him to unpack all of the details. But how did the workshop go yesterday regarding peace initiatives in Yemen at the University of Pretoria?
Yeah, there were lots of talkers, and there wasn't much time that everyone should say what he wanted to say, and there were not much time for questions and answers. But in general, it was, for me, I came in touch with the sentiments of the South African people, that they would like to help, and they would like they would be happy to host mediation, both sides of the conflict in a mediation.
Okay, so Dr. Abdulkader, let me ask you this question. I think that we're so far removed here in South Africa and possibly other parts of the world. There's so many conflicts throughout the Middle East, Africa, South Asia, all around the world. There are issues, and sometimes you overlook and don't understand, what exactly is going down in Yemen. In a nutshell, can you give us a brief overview of what is at the heart of the problem, the conflict between Saudi Arabia and Yemen and the Houthis?
First, we have our genuine ills. We have our genuine problems, regional anomalies and conflicts, and certain groups which are well armed and like to settle accounts with in the field of war. And we have people who have strong ideas about religion and how it should be important in our life, and certain versions of religion. I mean, Zaydism or Shi'i or Irani. And there are the silent majority who suffer all these things, which they are very silent. The people who would like to promote their ideas or causes or gain wealth or resources, they are minority, but they are well armed, and they are willing to use it at any time. They are happy triggers. Unfortunately, the complex of people who traditionally like to go to arms, the tribes and the Houthis. They are allied with Iran. Iran has been nurturing them and feeding them and arming them and drilling them and stirring them with grudge for the last 3 decades. It is not as recent as you think. I mean, the arrival of Iran to Yemen. So they managed to prop them up in a way why the whole of the country was unaware of what's going on. We have our own problems, yes, genuine problems. Houthi and Iran are newcomers into the scene. We have our own problems. I mean, poor governance, collapse of the middle class, corruption, as any other country. But these people were this is important to know. And then our problems evolved into a conflict in 2011. Some people think it is Arab Spring. I think it is more different, a little bit different. We can talk about it if we have time. But the Iranis and the Houthis were there, hiding, well equipped, and jumped. And at the end, we had a very successful national dialogue, which went on for 10 months. And we had, after that, a national dialogue, outcomes and constitution. And it was inclusive and conclusive. Everyone participated and every issue was tackled and discussed. Now, as we were in the point to harvest this beautiful thing, just ready for elections, there was a coup. I mean, the Houthis made a coup because they designed and planned that with arms and with having a coup, they will gain better than they would gain in elections. Their constituency, they are a minority. They are not a majority, the Houthis. They are a minority, but well armed and well supported by Iranis, and thought that transition and the new election and based on social contract and the constitution wouldn't give them what arms would give. This is the problem.
All right, Dr. Al-Guneid, because of time constraints, I know my colleague Inayat Wadi is going to truly do justice to the interview tomorrow evening because it's an entire hour long. But just very quickly, a short answer. What do you believe needs to happen in Yemen for the conflict to be totally resolved between, obviously, the Yemenis and Saudi Arabia, and also to
Iran, and add Iran. I should add Iran.
Iran and the Houthis.
Yes, Iran is the most important factor in this war and in this problem. But they are very skillful in hiding themselves.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
What needs to be done to resolve the conflict, to live in peace going forward?
Okay, I can talk less about this, but you want a short answer.
Yes, I want a very short answer.
There will never be a negotiated peace deal because Houthis, they didn't start this war because they were joking. And the Iranis didn't start this war because they were joking. They came for a purpose. Iran has already acquired 3 Arab countries, and Yemen is ready to fall completely in the basket as the 4th Arab country to fall into the hands of Iran. And Houthis, they have a certain belief that they are entitled to rule Yemen with a divine doctrine and decree by Prophet Muhammad. So they are not playing games. They want to take it. They think they are strong, and then they think their foes are weak, and they are determined to win.
Let's leave it there. Shukran very much for talking to us, Dr. Abdulkader Al-Guneid. And to our listeners, please be sure to tune in to Inayat Wadi show tomorrow night um, on Global Dynamics, where he's going to dedicate an entire hour in discussion with Dr. Abdulkader Al-Guneid. It's just gone 9 o'clock.